There's a serious and dangerous pattern that I see in society and that I want to talk about, and specifically how women started hating men and blaming them for everything. Yesterday I was talking to my roommates. We were talking about men. I live with 5 other girls and all of them agreed upon 3 things. Basically that all men are narcissists, egocentric, manipulative. Okay, so never trust a man, basically. I was very surprised because when I think of man, that's not my first association. So then I kind of started thinking, how did we get to this? How did society convince women that men are bad? Because this is something that I've seen everywhere. And I'm Gen Z, so I am a student, I go to university, I know what girls think because I hear what they talk about. And just to give you an idea, in our bathrooms in university, people paint on the walls, men are trash, you don't need a man, or fuck marriage, just you don't need that. And this shocked me. Could you think if that was the opposite? If a man actively said those things to a woman, he would be called misogynist, patriarchy, all of the bad labels that we see everywhere. If we want equality, then why are women allowed to say certain things, certain offensive things about men and literally attack a whole group of people when we are the first preaching, oh my god, we have to love everyone, we have to be caring of every minority, and then we literally hate men, the other half of the population. This is incoherent. Let's go back to the question, why do most women nowadays hate men? My first argument is that social media is shaping the way we think about the other sex. Why? Because of the things that we see online. Women nowadays are spending more and more time on social media, so Instagram, TikTok, and they get exposed to content that is primarily from women telling their own negative experience with men. Here's something that most people ignore. Social media, Instagram, TikTok, works through polarization. So, the best way to keep people looking at their phones is through sharing materials that are very striking. So bad stories, bad news will get viral. This is why a good story, a good man would never be viral. Think of that. If I posted a TikTok video talking about how my boyfriend is doing so many things for me, is going to work, is saving money, is giving everything that he has for me, he's always ready to support me, he takes all the responsibilities, goes to work at 4 in the morning every day, and he provides for the family. This wouldn't go viral because the internet and the people watching don't like these things. So when we only consume material that sees men as abuser, as egocentrics and narcissists, we will then shape our reality thinking that is true for everybody. That is the overall context, and all men are like that. This is why I hate when women say men are trash. Maybe your boyfriend is trash, but my boyfriend's not trash. Next time you open your Instagram feed and you see a girl sharing her experience, just know that it's so much more likely for you to see stories about cheater, abusers, because those are what the algorithm promotes. My second point is that women nowadays like to play the role of a victim, still calling out for patriarchy and thinking that today in the world that we're living in, we don't have the same possibilities that men have. I'm talking about Western civilization, so I believe that feminists that we have here should put their attention on women that truly have these problems. But I believe that in the modern Western civilization, these problems are no longer here. And all the feminists that protest and say that every problem of society come from a man are just victims that will rather point at men instead of taking their own responsibilities and understanding what's wrong with them. Women are so focused into blaming men that they don't even understand how privileged they are. I could make you so many examples. Even in a workplace, women have far more advantage than men, and I could tell you this from my personal experience. So recently, I was trying to get a job, and I have zero experience, never worked, nothing. I just make myself cute, I wear makeup, and I realized this person was ready to hire me, not because of my experience, but because of my looks, because of how charming I was. And this is much more likely for a woman to happen because we know that we as women have this kind of power, attraction, seduction, beauty, something that a man usually doesn't have. If a man was in my same situation, looking for a job, it would have been harder for him to find a job. The spotlight is always on women. Everything related to women, such as Women's Day, women's health, are so present in our society that men, which might actually even have those same needs, are not listened to. Just to give you an example of how men are forgotten nowadays, think of the health system. Prostate cancer is the most common cancer among the male population, but is rarely talked about. All the focus is on breast cancer for women, and there's nothing wrong about doing awareness campaigns, but just do it even for men. It feels like men are expendable. And one other example is that women are constantly listened to the whole time. When we have a problem, when something's wrong with us, with our surroundings, when we don't like something, people naturally and genuinely listen to us. They want to help us, they want to sympathize with us. But when a man has problems, then that man is weak, that man is not strong enough. No one will listen to him, no one will take him seriously. And trust me, the problem that a man has are so profound and deep because they're never expressed. Women are constantly talking about what they feel, how men behaved, what they did to them, but no one ever asked men. And because men naturally don't want to open themselves, don't want to share this thing. But this doesn't mean that they don't have a world inside of them. There's plenty of things we could talk about, even when it comes to divorce. Courts are always giving the privilege to women, keeping the child, and single dads have no money because they have to provide money for the woman, for the child. And they rarely get to see the child because the woman has the right to keep the child most of the time. This goes without even mentioning the high rate of suicide among men, which is incomparable to women. So think of how men are suffering, and we women are constantly here complaining about everything. It's all patriarchy, right? My next point on why women hate men is hookup culture. Hookup culture emphasizes occasional relationship between men and women, and this inevitably makes a huge impact on women because women at a certain age, let's say 26 years old, will have had so many experiences with men, and of course they will be so drained and so detached from true love and the actual experience of finding someone that they will love, that of course they're going to look at men thinking that they will never understand them. The only thing that they want is just to bring them to the bedroom. If you engage on hookup culture, just know that you are going to erode the ability and your possibility to appreciate when a real man enters your life. And last point is, most women are hating men because they are afraid of rapists, all the negative news that we see on television everywhere. I want to tell you something very provocative, okay, which you might not agree upon, but everything changes according to where you are in the world. But where I live, overall, women tend to lean on liberal views, and that's a consequence because of their empathy, because women are naturally more empathic. They will turn to the left, right? And this has many implications, such as opening borders to immigrants. And I'm not saying that this is wrong. I'm just saying that be mindful and be aware of what happens if you open your borders to people that don't deserve to be in your country. Because I can give an example. In the country in which I live, women are constantly complaining about rapes, and a rape is the most traumatic experience that a woman could live. But when we complain about rapists, do we know that we are the one allowing these people to rape us because of who we vote? Just to give you an idea, in my country, in 2023, 59% of sexual assaults were perpetuated by immigrants, and they make up 9% of the population. This is a huge number, because that means that for 9% of people, only that small amount make 59% of sexual assaults. This is something that feminists most of the time forget when they protest for men abusing women, raping them. They forget that they should protect all women, even women attacked by immigrants. This is something that I see even myself when I go out and I don't feel secure. Most of the time I'm not really afraid of my fellow citizens. It's more these people that are not able to adapt to our society and still commit crimes. So the reason why I listed all of these arguments is just to say that the reason why we women hate men are not even concrete. It's something that is interpreted mostly in the wrong way, and that we, for lack of clarity, for lack of education, we ignore, and we point to men thinking that they are the cause of that. We wouldn't just look at men and believe that patriarchy is the cause of everything, okay? I hope, guys, you understand my point of view, which is very specific in this topic, and I want to read your comments. What do you think about that? How's the situation in your country? Why do you think women hate men? Or do you think that men as well hate women? I'm open to your opinion. So yes, see you in my next video.